Ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that has not changed, and a lot of you were on this bandwagon. I tried to, I don't want to be on that bandwagon because I'm trying to turn the page, and I'm trying to hope that they are, headed in the right direction and those kind of things. And I was foolish. I was a big dummy. I thought that they were ready to turn the corner. I really did. I thought they were ready to be men. They were ready to become like badass dogs in this league. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but right now Mike McDaniel's team is the same frauds they've been for 20 years. The same frauds that Jimmy Johnson developed, the same frauds that Dave Wannstedt developed, the same frauds that Adam Gase developed, the same frauds that, rest in peace, Tony Sparano developed, the same frauds that Brian Flores developed. Years ago, I had some fun while we were in the middle of all this bullshit with the Dolphins, and I did a little thing called Stuck in the Middle. I can't do it again because YouTube tags us for everything. So I can't play any music, and it's hard for me to play a lot of videos from, NFL teams and stuff like that because they watch our channel like a hawk. Okay. It's when you're a media member, it's completely different, dude. I don't know. They just put some shit on you and they're tagging you constantly. So, but I had some fun. Steeler Wheels is a band, and they have a song called, Stuck in the Middle. And that my theme for the Dolphins was that they're always stuck in the middle. They're usually better than the real terrible teams in the NFL, and they're never good enough to beat the playoff teams in the NFL. And that's where Mike McDaniel is. That's where he is. That's what this team has been for years and decades now. That on their best years, they barely sneak into the playoffs and then they get spanked and sent home. Whether you're Dave Wannstedt, whether you're Jimmy Johnson, I get it. One of them won one. I don't give a shit about that. But more often than not, you're Adam Gase, you're whatever. You're going to appear in the playoffs like last year, and then you lose. You know what I mean? Although last year, at least you didn't get your ass kicked. You kind of hung in there. But, you're a fraud. And that's what the Dolphins are. They're frauds until further notice. So for now, Mike McDaniel is coaching the same frauds everyone else has coached. That's all. It's pretty simple. There's no other way to break it down. When you go to Buffalo and get spanked 38-20, I'm sorry, you don't belong there. You don't belong anywhere near Buffalo. You don't belong in any conversation that you're some kind of leader. And that's kind of what it is. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but those of us that thought they were ready to take the next step, we're dead wrong. We're dead wrong. They're the same frauds they've always been. Mike McDaniel has failed so far to cross that threshold and make them a real team. They're frauds. That's what you are. Unfortunately, Christian Wilkins, you're a fraud. That's it. Bradley Chubb, you're a fraud. Everybody is a fraud on this team. Tua, McDaniel, Tyreek, Achane, everybody's fraudulent. And even though Achane and AVG are the only ones that really deserve a little love in that game, okay, Achane did really good, and AVG were awesome. But you're all frauds. Because even in games that are, in years past, one or two people would perform well and the rest of the team, you're just a bunch of frauds. You're all frauds. It doesn't mean that I don't think Teron Armstead's a hell of a player. It doesn't mean that I don't think Tua is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Of course I do. I think X is still a hell of a corner. But you're all frauds. You get that label as a team. You're a fraud. You cannot win big games. And that's the problem. Beating the Chargers is not a big game. Look, the way I look at it, I was looking at the league. San Fran, Philly, KC, and Buffalo. That's one level. That's the one level that's level one in the NFL. Level two, Miami, Baltimore, Dallas, the Chargers, the Lions, Seattle. Level three is even worse. But level two, listen to level two, Baltimore wannabes with their little gimmick quarterback that can't make any passes. He's inaccurate half the time. If he isn't using his legs, Lamar Jackson is useless pretty much. Oh, he's a phenomenal running back, yes, but he's a mediocre quarterback. So their Baltimore Ravens are wannabes. They sneak into the playoffs and they get spanked and sent home. Miami wannabes. They sneak into the playoffs, spanked, and sent home. Dallas, they rarely ever make the playoffs, and if they make the playoffs, they'll choke and get spanked and sent home. Herbert is nothing but a softy. Jeff George, spanked and sent home. Lions are still a bunch of wannabes. Seattle, at least are kind of fighting, but they're still wannabes. It's basically what it is. But the teams with cojones in this league is San Francisco, it's Philadelphia, it's Kansas City, it's Buffalo. Those are the only four teams in this league that have cojones, that are tough, that step up in big moments, that do not get pushed around. They do the pushing. That's the difference. And that's what you got. That's what this league is all about. So Mike McDaniel, still early in his career. He's in his second year. But he's got to do what Jimmy Johnson couldn't do because they were frauds. Dan Marino, along with everybody on that team. Nothing against Marino. Nothing against Sam Madison and Pat Surtain and Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor and Tim Bowens. But they're all frauds. They're all frauds. All those teams under Jimmy Johnson, fraudulent. All those teams under Dave Wannstedt, fraudulent. Forget about the individual names. The teams itself, a bunch of fucking frauds. So that is the threshold that all of these coaches, Joe Philbin, Cam Cameron, Tony Sparano, Brian Flores, Jimmy Johnson, Dave Wannstedt, and now Mike McDaniel have to break through. Stop being a fraud. Stop teasing people. However it is, with Ricky Williams, with a great defense and Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas, with a Lamar Smith year, with the stupid Wildcat year, with whatever that Jay Ajayi year, stop being frauds. You tease your fan base like you're about ready to take that next step, and you're never ready to take that next step. So you got to stop being a bunch of frauds. You got to stop lying to the public. You got to stop lying to yourselves. That's the other thing. You know, it doesn't help when you lie to yourself.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.